Hi, welcome to the National Critics' Choice Online News, and here at Whisky 2013. Please tell us more about this wonderful grappa product that you have.
Well, grappa is the Italian national spirit, and basically it's the outcome of a distillation of a grape pomace, which is the skin, the seeds, and the pulp of the grapes after the pressing takes place to produce wine. And it is the Italian national spirit, and we're kind of glad that right now we are entering to the Singapore market, because it's a product that's very linked to the Italian tradition, but also recently we're trying to increase our export market worldwide.
Now, what makes a good grappa?
Good grappa basically is the outcome of the distillation of good pomace. But good pomace needs to be really fresh pomace and very wet, meaning that there has to be quite a bit of pulp involved in the pomace, and as well as a great distillation technique.
Now, what is the kind of quality control that goes into it?
Well, it is in different steps, because there's a really strict quality controls in the selection of the grapes to begin with. Then there is also very quality control during the fermentation process of the actual pomace, and during distillation. During different steps of distillation, we are extremely careful, because between the grape pomace itself and the finished product, we have about 8 passages into our lab, into in-house lab for the quality control.
And now, how can the viewers able to find out whether they're having a good grappa or not? Is there a process of knowing it?
The most immediate way to do it is basically to take a little bit of grappa, rub it in your hands, and then smell it. If there is any oil smell, or if there is any moldy smell, that means that it's a bad grappa. That's the easiest way to do it. So if anybody is unfamiliar with grappa, that's the best way to do it.
Now, what's the difference between a grappa and a whiskey?
Well, the raw material, clearly, because grappa comes from a distillation of grape pomace, and a whiskey comes from our raw material, basically. And the most important thing, where there is a lot of confusion, is with brandy. Brandy is the distillation of wine, which is already a finished product. Grappa is the distillation of a grape pomace, which has nothing to do with brandy from that point of view.
Now, most viewers like to know, how does grappa being made? What kind of process it takes to make a good grappa?
Well, basically you distill it, and so the grape pomace gets fermented. Once it's fermented, it gets distilled, and usually the best quality is with a traditional pot still, which is run by steam, and after that it gets filtered and reduced in alcoholic content, and is filtered to eliminate all the residual oils that could cause the headaches and the stomach burn.
And what's the alcohol content like?
Well, our grappa Nardini is 50% alcoholic content. It's the strongest grappa in the market at the moment, even in Italy. Although we also introduced a new line at 60%. But usually grappa, is a rule of thumb, ranges between 40 and 42%. So we're known to be a strong grappa in the industry.
Amazing. Now, for first timers trying out the grappa, what would you recommend?
Well, I found, in generally speaking, that probably an infused grappa is much easier for someone newly involved in the drinking of grappa, and I would recommend the almond grappa, which is again, is 50% alcoholic content, but it's much easier and is more rounded in taste.
Now, how can our viewers get hold of this wonderful product?
Well, here in Singapore, we deal with this company, which is called La Maison du Whisky, that does the distribution as of 6 months ago, and has a range of our product, about 10 products in the market at the moment.
So once again, thank you for joining us here at the National Critics'
with a grappa. You will find that is, by comparison to a limoncello, because probably it's this, the closer thing that we have to it, that is much drier in the aftertaste and has much lower viscosity. And the last product we'll try today is what we refer to as an Amaro, which is in a bitter category, and along the line of a Jägermeister or an Averna or a Montenegro. the three main ingredients that we utilize in the Amaro are bitter orange, peppermint, and the root of an alpine flower called gentian, which is the bitter element in the product. You will find it to be a little bit licorice in the aftertaste, so you have a defined taste of licorice, which is there's no licorice involved, it's just the gentian root. So that's basically the four products that we'll try today. And before we you taste it, if you have any question, I'll answer now, or if not, we're gonna cover it. Meaning, well, vodka is to Russia, well, tequila is to Mexico, grappa is to Italy, pretty much. And the raw material of grappa is what we refer to as grape pomace, which means the skin, the pulp, and the seeds of the grapes after the pressing takes place to produce the wine. So basically, the raw material is not wine, it's grape pomace. And there seems to be quite a bit of confusion about that. If you distill a wine, you get brandy. If you distill a grape pomace, you get grappa. So I will just give you a little general information on grappa, and then we'll talk about Nardini in specific. Okay, so it basically just makes sense for Italy to have grappa as a national product due to the fact that Italy has always been traditionally a big wine country producers. So basically the very tail end of the farming season was the grape harvest. And after the grape harvest, clearly there was a grape pomace that was left. And once it got fermented, we should distill that to obtain grappa. For this reason, the legal name of grappa is not grappa, is aquavite di vinaccia, which means a grape pomace based eau de vie. And that, again, there's quite a bit of confusion there because people always frequently ask, what's the difference between grappa and eau de vie? Basically, eau de vie is nothing more than water of life. And that's basically because in the past, before the pharmaceutical industry developed, basically the eau de vie were utilized as a remedy for any sorts of health problem. And that's how we go to grappa. Nardini has been produced, is a family company. It was founded in 1779, and I'm currently on 7th generation, and it's always been owned by the same family. And we only and exclusively have been producing grappa ever since. When we started, we were distilling using a direct fire system of distillation. Then back in the middle of 1800s, we introduced, and it was the first distiller in Italy to introduce a steam distillation system. The steam had a big advantage because you were able to keep the temperature constant, and therefore the quality of the outcoming product was much more, from a quality point of view, was much better. And then later on in the middle of the 60s, actually, we introduced what's referred to as a vacuum seal system, which allows us to distill at a much lower temperature and therefore extract more of the quality of the grapes, of the grape pomace. Our company currently works with two different distilleries. We have a traditional pot distillery and as well as a different distillery, which is a column distillery. We take the outcome of one distillery, the outcome of a second distillery, we blend it together, and we obtain our grappa. What's important to keep in mind on Nardini is the fact that we only produce one blend, and it's the blend of the two different distilleries, which we use for all of our product line. The regular grappa, which is this one right here, will be the first product that you will try. It's the unaged version of it. So we are in the Veneto region. The grape pomace that we utilize are 80% red grapes, meaning Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon. The remaining 20% are white grapes, which are Pinot Blanc and Tokai, what used to be called Tokai, now it's called Friulano. So the same blend gets aged to obtain the Reserva Grappa, which is the second product that you will try, and is aged for 5 years in Slavonian oak barrels. The reason why we utilize Slavonian oak is basically because the pores of the oak are very tiny, and therefore the evaporation, the age of share is very limited that way. So we utilize new wood for the regular Reserva, and we also have a 15 years old Reserva, which we have available in the next room afterwards if you want to try it.
which is completely different in taste due to the fact that we utilize the same barrel that we previously used for the first aging process. If you have any question all the time, please feel free to ask, because I mean, clearly we're not the many of us.